the last two, the Mundus-Map and the Indices of Social Development Prizes. And then I'll introduce the jury of the Research Paper Prize and the Josmoy Prize, and then the chair of the jury, as already announced, Professor Irene van Staveren, will come to the fore to read the jury report of those two prizes. Concurrently with the MA in Development Studies at the ISS, we have an MA called the Mundus MA in Public Policy. It's a joint degree, it's a double degree in the sense that it takes 2 years. It's 1 year here and 1 year in either York University or Barcelona University. And the first year can also be in Budapest. So it's 4 universities that in a consortium offer this program. It's members of the 4 universities in that program who have selected research papers for a prize. And lo and behold, in this first year in the joint degree, 2 students who were at the ISS last year won the prize. Alexandra Piletic and Daniel Gomez Oribe. They are currently in their second year, which they will finalize soon. Then I come to the Research Paper Prize for the Indices of Social Development 2014. The jury, the committee of that prize was Ekaterina Evdokimova, who is a PhD researcher here at the ISS, and who is the manager of the database which holds all these indices of social development. And the second member of the committee was Ellen Webbing, who is a database consultant and who is a member of the Dutch Central Bureau of Statistics. Here comes their report. In the paper, The Impact of Democracy on Equality, Poverty and Development, the author differentiates between formal democracy and participatory democracy, claiming that the former does not ensure a reduction in inequality. To analyze the performance of participatory democracy, the author uses indices of social development indicators such as civic activism, intergroup cohesion, interpersonal safety, and trust and inclusion of minorities, and relates these to the Gini index, indicator of income inequality. And he does so through regression analysis. Interestingly, the findings of the research show that interpersonal safety and trust is the most important variable fostering inequality reduction, and that intergroup cohesion has a significant impact in reducing inequality. To the contrary, formal democracy has no statistical significant effect on income inequality. This research has great potential to contribute to the understanding of the impact of various types of democracy and of the related civil society factors which foster more income inequality. Can you guess? The author is Paulo Roberto Gitirana de Araujo Guerra, who, as was already clear when Andrew gave him his diploma, who was not here, but we will make sure he will get also this extra accolade and the prize that goes with it. Now, let me now introduce the ISS Research Paper Prize and the Josmoy Paper Prize. The jury this year consisted of Irene van Staveren, ISS professor in pluralist economics, and Dr. Karim Knio, senior lecturer in political science and indeed convener of the Mundus-Map in public policy. We did approach a third member for the jury, a representative of the Society for International Development here at the ISS. Unfortunately, she had an accident on a typical Dutch means of transport, the bicycle. And although we tried hard, it proved to be too late in the day to find a replacement. And so the bulk of the work had to be done by our 2 ISS jury members. And this year, for the second time, major conveners could nominate research papers also for the Josmoy Prize for outstanding work in the area of public policy and development management. The ISS instituted this prize to commemorate the contribution of the late Josmoy, my predecessor as deputy rector and a dear colleague to us all. So, could I invite Irene van Staveren, wherever she is, to come and read the jury report for the ISS Prize and the Jos Mooi Prize.
Thank you very much. The committee has decided to award 3 prizes. The Jos Mooi Award for the best research paper on public policy and development management, and 2 prizes for the best research papers in the broad area of development studies. Each prize includes an amount of €500. First, on the Jos Mooi Award. The Jos Mooi Award 2014 is for a solid empirical analysis of the labor market effects of a tax reform in Brazil. The study is about a tax simplification and reduction at the same time, and a shift from taxing labor to taxing the total returns of a firm. The author asked all the right development questions. Does it have an effect on employment? Does it have an effect on wages? Does it have an effect on the informality of labor? The quantitative methods chosen are up to the task, including attention to productivity differences between workers in firms. The results point out that the tax reform has a substantial positive effect on the Brazilian labor market, and with relatively large increases in employment, more jobs, in wages, higher wages, but also in formality, less informal and less formal jobs. This is an important result for development policy. First, it demonstrates an effective instrument for poverty reduction through labor markets. And second, it shows the responsiveness of a shift of taxation from one source, labor, to another source, in this case, total business earnings. And this is promising for other tax shifting policies across the world. For example, shifting a tax from labor to capital, as Thomas Piketty makes a plea for, or shifting tax from labor to environmental damage, as we need for a greener economy. The research paper is titled Payroll Tax Reduction in Brazil, the Effects on Employment and Wages, and it is written by Clovis Scherer from Clovis is not here. Clovis is not here, but I'm sure that the ISS financial office will transfer the amount to Clovis' bank account in Brazil. So now to the 2 general research paper prizes. They concern 2 research papers out of a total of 17 that were submitted. Both are of very high quality, and they clearly distinguish themselves from the rest. The committee noted that majors which submitted 2 or 3 research papers had on average higher quality submissions than those that submitted 4 research papers. The committee therefore recommends a reflection on the number of research papers to be submitted for the prize competition in the future. Obviously, this would help to reduce the time and efforts of future research paper prize committees to read all these submissions. But that is not the major reason. But in this case, the negotiation time that the committee needed was not long, because after thorough reading and reflection by each of us, we easily agreed on the 2 winners and the winner of the Jos Mooi Prize. So let me go now to the second prize of the General Research Paper Prize. It's an in-depth qualitative study which reads as a wicked fairy tale of how a disaster and a powerful elite join forces to dispossess the poor inhabitants of a small island in the Philippines. me continue giving you the flavor of the research paper. It addresses a gap in the land-grabbing literature by connecting a climate change-related disaster, a super typhoon, with the local politics and violence around land reform. The study convincingly argues that the elites have interpreted the temporary deserted land after super typhoon Haiyan in 2013 as a clean slate in the land reform process. And it shows that the local authorities, by stating that they could not intervene due to climate change policies against settlement near the coast, that actually have let this happen. So that many poor people have given up their lands claims and made themselves dependent upon the dominant tourist business on the island. While a few hold on to their land claims, but without state support. The study ends as in a proper wicked tale, with not much hope for those who resist. And with the damage of the new typhoon of last week, it's not very likely that the situation will improve. The research paper is titled Grabbing the Clean Slate, the Politics of Intersection and Land Grabbing, Disasters and Climate Change. Insights from a local Philippine community in the aftermath of Super Typhoon Haiyan. And it's written by Maria Angelina Usan. So now the first prize. The first prize is by a student on a different country than her own, and on a topic that is full of myths and stereotypes. And the study is courageous and ambitious for yet another reason. The student has opted for a combination of qualitative and quantitative methods, and in such an extensive way that the paper would most probably have obtained a pass grade or higher if it just had applied one of the two methods. The study investigates the socio-economic consequences of teenage childbirth and the most innovative of the study is the comparison between 101 pairs of sisters, of which the one had the first child before the age of 19 and the other one had the first baby after the age of 19. So within the same family. This approach largely eliminates family effects. You can't explain anything because the one is from one type of family and the other is of another type of family. So very smart choice. And the approach appears to be important because other empirical studies do not compare within families and find only weak poverty effects after teen childbirth. But this study, comparing sisters, finds significant negative educational and earnings effects of mothers who had their first child as teenagers. Hence, the research paper makes an important contribution to shift the often normative and stereotyped debate around teenage childbirth to an evidence-based discussion about causes and consequences of this phenomenon. The paper is titled The Tale of Two Sisters, investigating the socio-economic outcomes of teen childbearing in South Africa, and is written by Tasneem Kakra.
Dear prize winners, finally, dear alumni, this concludes the first part of the graduation ceremony here in the aula. May I invite you to move one floor up for the second part of the ceremony, where all the non-alumni can congratulate the alumni. Thank you very much for coming here. I'll see you upstairs in the aula, in the atrium. While you are still here, I forgot something. While you are still here, I forgot something to say. When you go upstairs, you have a final opportunity to try and stay at the ISS. Upstairs, after graduation and over cocktails, a work of art will be produced by Peter van Bergijk in the atrium. And he asks you to leave not your footprint, but he asks you to leave a print of your hands at the ISS. So please, in the atrium, you can find a way, finally, to stay at the ISS.
Call it the end of the journey.